Talk and Rock Radio, where friends meet at the intersection of life, inspiration, and music. Here's your host, Rick Kern.
Welcome, everyone, to Talk and Rock Radio. Many of you are going to recognize the name of the group from El Paso from the early 70s called the Medicine Band. Today, I have them reuniting after 50 years. Welcome, Hugh Prestwood, Karen Burke Taylor Good, Spanky Mike Durham, Bruce VanHasselin, and last but not least, John Payne. Hi, guys.
Howdy, howdy.
Hi.
Great to be here.
Yes, sir.
It's so great to have all of you all here. It's been a long time, 50 plus years. My gosh. Of course, we all look pretty much the same, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I'm exactly the same, really. Yeah.
Your mustache is a little longer. That's all.
Yeah. Put on some makeup for the show.
Your shade of your beard is just a little different, Hugh.
Yeah. Yeah. God. 50 years. Isn't that ridiculous? Jeez.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Is it not 40 or something? It can't be 50. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, let me first ask you all, and anybody can just, jump in here anytime I throw a question out. Feel free to take the lead on it. But where did the name Medicine Band come from?
Well, I think I came up with that. Although
Okay.
I don't know if anybody has any members of that, but I have some vague memory that I came up with that name, but I can't remember why. But I want to tell you a little background here. First of all, when I started playing with Bruce and Spanky, we were playing as the Highballs. Remember that, guys?
Yes, and a group called the Spectrum when John Hyatt was playing.
Then we switched to the Spectrum, and eventually, I think when we got to Kern, and we became the Medicine Band, I think.
Now, where was the Highballs? I don't remember that place.
We played at the Airport Inn.
Oh.
The La Fonda.
Yeah, is that where it was?
Oh, wow.
On
Okay.
on Airways. It's where
Yes.
the Marriott is now.
Yeah,
Ricky,
you're
but
right.
it used to be called the La Fonda.
Exactly. Yeah, we used to
Remember.
go swimming there in the summertime. I remember that. Yeah.
I think the name, the Medicine Band, seems to be there was some tequila involved.
Oh, it could be.
That was the medicine part of it.
Situation that
Medicinal.
might have started that.
Medicinal.
Yeah.
The old medicinal, tequila. I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh, when we were on stage before we started, Hugh always made sure we all took a shot of tequila before we started.
Yeah, that's my thing. You know what I mean?
That was a
Yeah,
tequila sunrise, right?
But I have a question for Hugh. So where in all of these bands, where did Hugh and me fit in?
Well, here's my recollection of it, and it is kind of muddy to me. My recollection is that we got the band going, and then somehow it got dissolved or something, and you and I went on about a year and a half or something duo thing. But I'm fuzzy on that. I can't remember. It seems to me that was after. It seems to me after we did the band in Memphis. You know what I mean? And
Well, you know what they say, Hugh. If you remember the '70s, then you weren't there.
Yeah, yeah. As I recall, we got back from Memphis, and at some point, I had to quit teaching school, and suddenly we started doing a duo thing, and I can't remember exactly how that transpired. All I know is I didn't do anything wrong,
Hey, Hugh, I have photos and fond memories of rehearsing in your house down in the Esaleta area.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
photos in a small room and your little baby son, Brian, was that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember Brian was there, and diapers.
Oh,
So
wow.
that
Yeah.
takes us way back.
Yeah, God Almighty! Yeah, he was born in '68.
Yeah.
So that goes. Yeah, that's way back. I was thinking of old memories, and you remember Bruce had a thing when we I don't know if you remember this, Bruce, but you had a technique you used when we had a belligerent drunk come up to the band and start being obnoxious. Bruce would get up and go shake his hand. Yeah, and act like he hadn't seen the guy. My old friend, how you doing, and everything, and it would totally disarm the guy. I saw you do that a couple of times.
Every band should have a Bruce, right?
Right.
Where in the Ysleta area did you live, Hugh?
Right down, where the high school is.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
I was down right in the heart of Ysleta, where the tamale factory was, and Ysleta grade school was right there.
Did you go
to Ysleta grade school?
Did you go to Ysleta High?
No.
Okay.
Went to Austin High.
Oh, okay.
But I ended up getting a job teaching out of the blue. I suddenly ended up teaching sixth grade in Ysleta grade school.
Okay.
And it was a freaky twist of fate.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's interesting. Now, I want to think about when you guys were playing the Jet Set. Was that 72 or was that around 70?
71.
71 in the middle. Okay. Well, that's why I probably never got to hear you guys, because I was at the sister club, at the Knights Club at the Roadway Inn at the same time. And we played there like 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
So,
you told me we talked weeks ago, Ricky, and I did a lot of work there too with the 6th column. And when Hugh would come into town, he'd come to the Knights Club. I remember Hugh. You'd come to the Knights Club to visit, and maybe once a year when you'd come in town. But they've torn all of that down, and now you said, Ricky, there's a Walgreens. That was a great place.
It was a great place. In fact, it was even written up. Recently, I did an episode with John Anderson and Rick Armstrong, some of the guys from the band West Wind. You may remember that.
Yeah.
And they were reminding me that the Knights Club back in the heyday, when you were playing there, Bruce, and I was there before that, that club was written up in the Texas Monthly as being one of the hottest spots for nightlife in the state of Texas.
Little bitty dance floor, but it was
a small dance floor, but it was always busy, always looked good, always crazy. And of course, Bud Nichols, who ran the place, he was a great manager. He knew what he wanted there and he knew what it took. He was a good looking dude and he had different girls with him every night. It seemed like, he just
dapper. He dressed nicely.
To the nines, to the nines. Yeah.
It was a sharp dressed place. And I remember the color red. Everything was red.
Red velvet curtains. Exactly. Yeah.
That's the one right there by the freeway, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember
Bassett Shopping Center, Hugh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You remember Joe and Rose? Joe and Rose, they were great. They managed the Jet Set.
I love them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
I remember them.
Joe and Rose. Yes, Joe and Rose. And
we played
Rocky
the Jet Set a little bit.
Rocky.
He was the
master. Remember the time some guy jumped up and attacked Richard Starnes on the bandstand? Do you remember that, Bruce?
No.
Yeah, you jumped on the guy.
I did.
Yeah,
I was gutless.
No, we were playing one night at the Jet Set, and you were drumming, and Starnes was playing bass.
Yeah, okay, that would have been the Spectrum then.
Yeah, and some guy got mad. He thought Richard was looking at his girlfriend. Suddenly, he just lunged up and jumped on Starnes right in the middle of the bandstand. And I ran for my life, but you jumped on the guy.
That's
I'm alive today. My wife is hearing all these stories, Hugh, by the way. So
yeah, I kept my wife out.
John,
are you still playing guitar, John?
Oh, oops.
Uh-oh. He didn't charge his battery.
No, I got a thing right here. Let me plug it in.
The one guy that I remember from the Jet Set, who was always out in the audience, always used to come up and request beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Every night that he was there, this guy would come up. and thank the Lord, the whole time we were there, we never played Beans and Cornbread. So.
I don't think I mastered that song.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember that song.
So you
Although
know
there
what?
was a lot of alcohol involved.
The one to
Karen,
me,
you were right on the edge of the stage. I mean, there wasn't 3 inches between the dance floor and you guys.
yeah. So I have a lot of memories of doing the record down in Memphis. Do you guys remember all that?
Oh gosh.
Absolutely.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember High Records, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
across the street was, I think it was a laundromat and record store combination right across the street.
Now, how far was High Records from Stax Records?
Yeah, but damned if I know. Do you remember?
Hey.
You guys remember having dinner at the Four Flames? Does that ring a bell at all?
No.
What's that again, Hugh? Repeat that, please.
Okay, a girl we knew in El Paso, a woman who came to the Jet Set once in a while, was connected to this woman who ran this restaurant in Memphis called the Four Flames,
Hmm.
and it was like a really big, one of the top restaurants in Memphis, and Al Green was on that same label,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we went to dinner one night, and Al Green was, having
Yeah.
dinner also as well.
We went to a real nice rib dinner, I remember.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember that rib place. That's a famous rib place there in Memphis.
I remember,
Mhm.
Spanky, we were at the studio and Al Green and Willie Mitchell came in and they had their girls with them and they all had these long coats down to the ground and different color, red with these big hats with big feathers on. And they came by, it was late at night because we were there, playing at midnight, but they came in. You remember that, Hugh, when they dropped in?
I can't say as I do. You know what I was thinking? How did we? What I can't remember how we got to Memphis and back. Did we drive? I have no recollection of getting down there.
Let me tell you something. The first time Spanky and John and I drove up, we went in John's station wagon.
Yeah.
We called you because we pulled up in front of the studio and we said, this cannot be it. You better call Hugh. And you said, that's the address I had. And they warned us, do not go outside at night.
Yeah.
Spanky, they locked us in.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't much to look at from the outside. I mean, very very unpretentious. Had a lot of soul on the inside, but yeah, it was interesting.
We were mighty
Yeah.
lucky to be down there doing that. We were very lucky that Bill put that together. Bill and Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been talking to Bill a little bit. We're going to do a show about Sumi Records. We're going to cover a lot of ground with
Oh,
that.
cool.
So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, looking
That was my
forward to
first. That was my first real affirmation of my songwriting. Was Bill, having us come down there and do that record. That was really great. That's when I realized I was destined for the big time. No, I
Was-
didn't.
that. Was that Louisiana woman that you're talking about, Hugh?
Honest God, I don't know. We did that record, and I swear I haven't heard any of it practically since. So it's going to be a shock to me to hear some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna
'cause
grab
I'm-
something. You guys go ahead and talk.
Because you're the go-to that I wanted to ask about these songs since you wrote them. Louisiana woman. I was going to ask you, could you give me the backstory to that song?
Yeah, I met this woman who lived in Louisiana. Now that's the whole story.
Louisiana woman, child of New Orleans, born upon a river, raised on bread and beans. Daddy understood you, let you have your head, till he found a friend of his sleeping in your bed. Louisiana woman, child of New Orleans, turning tricks drinks on Bourbon Street only in your teens. Life just ain't so easy when you're on your own. Every night you sell your soul and still end up alone. You got the Mississippi running in your veins. Louisiana woman, let it flow. You got the Mississippi running in your veins. Louisiana woman, let it flow.
No, actually, that was just, a song that came out of my head, it was not based on anything for real.
Okay.
That I recall. Just, I thought it was a neat kind of idea for a song.
Yeah.
I was just, that's back when I was just writing songs. I mean, just beginning to write songs. I had a long way to go, I think, before I got on top of what I was doing.
So here's something I just grabbed off of the shelf over here. I don't know if you guys.
Oh God!
Look at
Yeah,
that.
Oh, wow.
I got one of those around in my house somewhere.
And,
God.
and what's the title of that one, Mike?
This is Louisiana Woman.
Okay.
Not Louisiana Woman, Louisiana Woman.
Yeah.
Louisiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember that Louisiana woman?
Yeah.
Hey, John Payne knew her very well.
John's being pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah, he is. Come on, John.
What are
He's
you
just trying to stay out of trouble.
I remember Overton Square in Memphis, man. We used to go there on a Saturday night. Remember going over there?
Yeah,
Had
yeah.
all that music happening, man, and really cooking.
Incredible music. Incredible music.
Remember Fridays? That was like when Fridays was a new thing. We went down to Beale Street or something like that, and there was this really great group. That guy was a flute player. Had a really good group.
Yeah.
Playing there. God. And as I recall, we lived at Bill's house, right? Because we were all staying there, right? At Bill Taylor's?
No, not except for Bruce and I.
You guys were not there, you were there.
I can't.
We stayed somewhere else. We stayed in a guy's attic. We slept in an attic, and there was another group that was working up there, and somehow we were their guests. But we came to Bill's house on a daily basis, to eat meals and everything. All we did was sleep at that other house. And I think John was with you, and Kern at Bill's house.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm telling you, my brain has turned. I've done too much pot. You know what I mean? Over the years, I can barely remember some of this stuff. God damn. I remember being in the studio and really working hard at getting those songs down. And I swear to God.
Go ahead.
I don't remember what we did. Like when we were done playing, did we go eat somewhere? Honest to God, what did we do? I have no idea.
I remember going out to a big eating place late at night where they had grits and all this stuff, gravy.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
We had
And that was
grits
back
every
when
night.
if you had long hair, you could be threatened.
Yeah.
So did we drive down there? I mean, is that right? To Memphis? In other words, we drove from El Paso down to Memphis. How did we do that?
Well, I drove in my car, a station wagon.
Yes. And you took Spanky and I with you, John.
Yeah, right. And we drove straight through.
I guess you got on your Learjet there, Hugh, or something.
I thought you flew out on the Learjet, didn't you? At that time.
Yeah, well, I went ahead and rented a place, so I could be in comfort while I was down there.
Karen, how did you
Karen,
get there?
Do you remember
Karen,
that?
how did you get there?
Karen, did you
go-
and I drive down there? Or?
Maybe. My memory is the same as yours. I have no idea. I don't.
We've slept since then, huh?
So are you guys, John, are you still playing?
Yeah, I'm still playing. Playing at home mostly.
We just didn't have.
I played straight for years and years, and I have some Parkinson, So I hadn't been doing any gigs, but I'm still playing. My partner's playing here, Laura Monda.
Oh, cool.
We have a good time. We played a lot of gigs throughout the year.
He was the best, Hugh, wasn't he? He was the
Yeah,
best.
John was, John, to be honest, I know he looked down on me. I was like, I was like an amateur player compared to him, but
Not really, man. Not really, man. You wrote the songs, man. That's what counts.
You guys remember, I'll tell you a funny thing I remember is that when we came back, it's luck would have it, when we got back from Memphis, we had a gig about a day or two later. And we'd been in the studio the whole time. And we felt like we were pretty sharp, although we hadn't rehearsed any of our normal, stuff like we did at the Jet Set. And we had some gig and we went out and we sucked. I remember we could not, we sucked. We hadn't really rehearsed anything. We figured we had it together, big time studio recording act. And I remember, God, we flubbed it. Do you remember that? Were you guys with me when we did that thing at college, the homecoming dance? Were you on that at all?
Maybe.
I don't remember it myself.
I don't remember that.
So Karen, how did you, Judy was asking me the other night, when is that a duck?
What the hell's that?
A duck.
Wow. It's a Siamese cat.
Oh my word.
A mountain lion. A mountain
That
lion.
is-
Hey, John, I think you just got upstage, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
So I was going to ask Karen, how long when did you move to Nashville?
Okay, well, this is part of the story. The part of the story is that after the Medicine Band came back from Memphis, this interesting thing had happened in Memphis, which is I fell in love with our producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Taylor. And
Yes, I recall that.
you recall that. And so it wasn't too long thereafter that I moved, that Bill and I got married, and I moved to Memphis. And we were married for 7 years and lived in Memphis for 7 years. And at the end of that is when I moved to Nashville. And by the way, he is still one of my best friends. And Dennis and I have been married 40 years come February.
God, you're
Four,
kidding.
did you say four?
Oh, my God.
0?
We're getting ready to, we will go down to Birmingham and spend the birthdays, Sparky and I, Bill Taylor and I have birthdays 2 days apart. So long story short, he's still one of my best friends. He's my daughter's godfather. And he will love seeing everybody here and watching this.
Karen,
He's a good guy.
I gotta ask you a question, Karen. There was a story about the women's restroom at the Jet Set Club.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Okay. So I told Rick that I have a terrible memory and that I'm going to be relying on you guys to, fill in. I said, the only thing I truly remember about our time at the Jet Set Club. So we had been to Memphis, recorded. I had fallen in love with Bill. We were engaged. We came back to El Paso and we're playing some more gigs at the Jet Set Club. And there was, I do not wish to impugn anyone's memory, but there was a woman there who, she was too old to dress the way she dressed. And she dressed in way too short skirts and she had the plastic white go-go boots. And we were probably not very kind about speaking about her. So I'm in the bathroom, we're on a break, and I'm in the bathroom, and somebody says, "So Karen, you're going to move to Memphis, right?" I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm going to get married and move to Memphis." And this woman said, "Oh, I have a son who lives in Memphis." And I said, "Oh, no kidding, yeah." And she said, "Yeah, he's in the music business." I said, "Really?" "Yeah." "What's his name?" "Bill Taylor." That's how I met my future mother-in-law.
Oh my gosh.
You are kidding. That's freaky.
I'm not kidding.
Never in a million years.
God
Wow.
damn.
Oh, gosh.
And that's my story about the medicine band jet set bathroom. Yes.
Wow.
And did she know this story?
She does now.
All of the story, or only some of the story?
She is long past, and no, we were fine with each other eventually, but man.
Karen, your parents still in El Paso? They still live in El Paso?
No, they are long past also.
Oh, okay. Because I remember they used to come out occasionally.
Yeah, they did. They used to love to dance to the medicine band.
I remember when we got back from Memphis, Rocky and Joe and Rose, they really built that up, and we were packing the house for a long, long time there.
Yeah. We were a good band.
Let me ask you, Hugh, real quick about the music that you guys are playing. I talked to John about this a little bit yesterday, that you all were really fortunate because you could play your originals along with your covers, right? You were doing cover music at the same time?
Yeah. We were it was mainly cover stuff, but we were working something once in a while that I had written. And that was a really big, huge thing for me to suddenly sort of have an outlet. I think that really sort of triggered my interest in writing more, that we could do something in the band once in a while. It was great. And luckily, Bill just kind of thought, there was something there. And, he really did. He thought there was something that I was writing that was good, and he brought us down.
You guys were so lucky that you could.
Players.
You all were so lucky you could do that, because in my last band out in Ventura, when we were playing L.A., we spent, with my last group, we're about a year out in that area, and it was a treat for us to be able to do our own stuff, because that's what we really wanted to do. We were building our catalog and going in the studios and trying to really get things going. We were supposed to do the Captain and Tennille TV special with Dick Clark and all that, and none of the networks picked it up. But we wanted to really kind of show everybody what we were all about with our original music. But at the same time, and this is why you all were so lucky, but at the same time, we're playing clubs and they want to hear covers. They want to get out there and dance and all that. So
dancing was the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found really interesting was, and I think, and this is a tribute to Hugh and then to the rest of us for really putting it together, was that there was just a bunch of those original songs of Hugh's, that we played at the Jet Set, and the people it was like they really, really enjoyed those songs. They really liked them. I mean, so many nights they liked them as much and would dance as much as the cover songs that we played. Yeah, that's it was great. Really neat.
Outstanding.
Hey, Ricky, are you going to play some of the music?
Yeah, you're not going to hear it right now because I'm going to edit that in tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
I'll edit those in. Let's talk about the next song, and that's Lay Me Down. Can you tell me a little bit about that, Hugh? What was the backstory or inspiration on that song?
I think it had to do with, the Vietnam War, I think.
Singing, lay me down into my grave. Turn around, cowards are brave. Lay me down into my grave. Turn around, cowards are brave. My son, I'm leaving to die as I'm told. Maybe you'll understand, son, when you're old. Maybe you'll have to leave sons of your own. Maybe they'll march off to war when they're grown. Singing, lay me down into my grave. Turn around, cowards are brave. Lay me down into my grave. Turn around, cowards. our words of prayer. My father.
You know, it's about Lay Me Down in My Grave, as I recall.
Yes.
And I think it just had to do with something about the Vietnam War that was going on. You know, I think I haven't heard the song so long. I probably if I heard it, it would trigger some more memories of what it was. But I remember thinking I always thought it was a pretty good song and that I'd written. You know, and it was I don't know. But all I can remember is maybe it had something to do with the war.
Another one of the songs that I was listening to recently, and it really spoke to me. I really liked this song, and that was the one, Time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you what it is that impressed me the most about it. I just really liked it. It was just had a real good message and I don't know, everything about it.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, when I moved to New York, and I kept writing songs, and that song kept coming up as everybody's favorite song. So that was my best song for a long time. And I actually led to my very first cut. You know, I always say my first cut was with Jackie DeShannon cut this song of mine. But actually prior to that, this group Free Beer that I was kind of plugged into in New York City did a version of that. They cut Time.
Memories fade in the sun, many colors into one. I remember knowing you. Did we love? I think it's true. I remember lies were told. I remember growing old. Listen to the clock, my friend. Listen to your hours in. Hear the tick and talk, my friend. Time. So now you come back home. No more to ramble, no more to roam. You've seen all there is to see. Thought you'd come back and pick up with me. Did you think I'd wait for you while you looked for something new? You know you never even said goodbye. Long ago I quit wondering why. Listen to the clock, my friend. Listen to your hours in. Hear the tick and talk, my friend. Time. Well, I found my woman now. She can't be mean, she don't know how. A little more gentle, not so proud. Speaking softly, not so loud. You know she seems to understand. When I fail, she takes my hand. She's become a part of me. It was easy, don't you see? Listen to the clock, my friend. Listen to your hours in. Hear the tick and talk, my friend. Time. Listen to the clock, my friend. Listen to your hours end. Hear the tick and talk, my friend. Time, time, time.
Yeah, that's such a great song. I tell you, I don't want to coin a phrase, but it is kind of timeless. I I I still sing that. I still sing that song out at places,
Is that right?
and I actually had a guy, and I always say that who wrote. If they're cover songs, I will always say who wrote the song. That's the proper thing to do. And I had a guy come up to me one night, and he said, "Wow, I can't believe," I says, "I haven't heard that song in about 100 years. That's a Hugh Prestwood song." And I said, "Yeah," it is. I said, we recorded it in Memphis back in 1972, and then other people have recorded it since then. But it's always a favorite. People just they love to hear that song.
It's a great song.
I can hear Karen's voice on that song right now. In the back of my mind, I remember her voice. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to mix it lower, but
on that song.
No, what's funny is Karen. I'm trying to have some big memory that Karen and I sort of got connected in some music circles or something, and at some point I really wanted to get her into the band. You remember that, Karen?
No, of course not.
Yeah, well,
I can't remember anything.
Yeah, no, I was playing, back then with John Hyatt and Richard Starnes, I think, and I thought I wanted to get you into the band because I thought female harmony would be really cool. And somehow I think we just been in some circles where I had heard you sing or something, and I was very impressed.
Ed.
So John, when did you get into this group? Like, how'd that work out? I can hardly remember that.
You got in touch with me from somebody, and you were living in Esaleta, and you come down to a practice, and play a little bit. So that's how I met you. I went down to your place, and you started playing some tunes, and I started playing, and pretty much that was it.
It's funny. I remember there was a thing you said one time that I have nothing to do with music, but when you were in Vietnam, and you were saying one time that they tried to get you to do something, and you were just about to get out of the army, and you told the guy you were short, and I had never heard that term.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, like you're short, and I thought, that's my life right now. I'm short. You know what I mean? I got a few more years, and then I'm out of here.
Yeah, we got more years, man.
So how's everybody's health?
What's that?
How's everybody health-wise?
I just have my Parkinson thing, but everybody's cool here. Lauren Munda, my partner here, she's in great health, and
So how about Spanky and Bruce here?
Well,
Karen, are you doing okay?
I am, knock on wood. But Hugh, I want to go back to everybody's health in a moment. But the Hamilton County Singers. Do you remember that? That's you and I were in a folk quartet first.
Is that what it was?
Yes, it was the Hamilton County Singers. And then I think I went away. No. And then we became Hugh and me, the duo.
Right.
And then that morphed into the Medicine Band.
Yeah, right.
I remembered something. Thank you, God.
We played, Karen and I ended up down in New Orleans, in Metairie, just outside of New Orleans. And we played at the Village Inn Pizza Parlor. Remember that?
Oh, yes. I do remember that.
And
hey, Hugh, have you done anything with Tom Russell? Any songwriter shows or anything with Tom?
No, I certainly am a fan of his, and we sort of kind of brushed elbow circle wise, once in a while, but I never have really even hung out with the guy. I've always thought
Okay.
he's really cool guy, and he's good friends with Charlie McDonald, who's a good friend of his and a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
But,
I did a show with him. I produced a show at the El Paso Scottish Rite about 10 or 11 so years ago, I think. Maybe it wasn't quite that long, but seemed like it was. But I brought Tom in to do a show, and class show, man, class act. Really, he's like you,
Yeah.
man. He's just a great writer and really passionate about his music.
I think I ran into him one time in Manhattan, believe it or not. It's some kind of street fair thing. And I can't remember whether he was playing, but we just kind of bumped into him. Where's he living now? Isn't he in Las Cruces or something?
He lives in El Paso, out in Border
does he?
Town. Border Town, yeah, out on between Canutillo and El Paso. It's a place called Border Town.
Wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
not
Well,
far
you-
from Dalton Powell's house. You know Dalton, right? From the Bobby Fuller
I
Four.
went to high school with Dalton.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea he was in with Bobby Fuller. He was just a guy in the high school.
Well,
Had no idea.
Listen to my very first episode that we did on this platform on Talkin' Rock Radio, and you'll hear Dalton and I talking all about how he was the inspiration for me becoming a drummer. I saw him for the first time playing with Bobby Fuller in 1963 at the Little Dipper Lounge in Skylane's bowling alley.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rick, I did a 2-week gig there with Little Jack, Bob Beatty. Was it Beatty? Little Dipper. and
Bruce Beatty.
Bruce Beatty. He was a banker later on in life.
Yes, he was.
But that was my first introduction to tassel dancers that just had tassels. The girls on the stage, left and right. I was a freshman in high school. And I said, man, I like this deal.
That was the beginning of your corruption, right?
Yeah, right. Little Jack was the guitar player, and that's
Yeah.
Little Dipper Lounge. Absolutely.
Jack Woodbury. Yes, we
Yeah.
lost him.
Jack Woodbury.
We
God.
lost him a couple of years ago, and quite
Damn.
a loss to our community. He
Say,
really
whatever
was.
happened to Jeff? Whatever happened to Jeff Lynne?
Jeff Lynne lives in Kentucky. He played in my band for about a year,
Lynne.
off and on. When he was in the military out here at Fort Bliss. And Jeff is in Kentucky. Had a studio there, doing video and audio production. But he and Teresa remain to be friends of ours. We talk all the time. Had some good
Gee.
times. I mean, he was El Paso's answer to Tom Jones, wasn't he?
He was
Yes,
great.
he
He was a great
was.
singer.
Yeah, he was. He was a good one. He was
When
a
I
good
came-
one.
A couple of times when I came back from New York, one time, and I almost freaked out. I came back right around New Year's, and I got a call from Jeff Lynne, and he said he lost his voice, and could I take his place on the New Year's gig at the Jet Set? And I remember thinking, oh, great, I'm going to be Jeff Lynne, you know what I mean? And it was like terrified. And we went on, we threw together a few songs, but I realized that night that no one gave a goddamn on New Year's Eve. They were having a ball. You know what I mean? Everybody was drunk and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was weird. So like, did our album ever actually come out, Karen? Our Medicine Band record. I don't know if I ever got a copy of it. I knew we had a single that came out.
I don't think it did it?
I don't think so.
Several years ago, I talked when Kenny Smith was still alive, and he was living in the Seattle area. We made contact, and I talked to him, and he was still working on Sumi Records, and he had found a company that was beginning to produce music from back in our day, so to speak, that when we did that. And so he had been in contact with this company. He had, the songs, the recordings that we did, and he was going to try and work on that, but he just never could put it together. I think that was probably the closest that would have been to, having our album come to fruition.
Yeah, probably for the best. I always thought, geez, I always thought I sucked.
I sure, I don't know about you all, but I sure miss Kenny a lot. You know, you remember Karen when he was supposed to be coming to El Paso when you came in to MC my Border Legend show in 2009, and his wife had fallen off the horse the day before, and he had to cancel coming, and he was going to be here playing with the Sherwoods, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Such a good guy.
Such a good guy. Just one of the
I
best.
stayed at his place in Memphis one time. I stayed in Kenny's house for like a month.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
And the two of us were there, Hugh and me, during that period. Hugh and me were there together in Memphis.
Interesting.
God, Karen and I had some interesting gigs as Hugh and me.
Oh, yes.
Remember our business card, Karen?
Oh, yeah.
We had a business card that had two sides to it. And one side said, you know, big letters, Hugh Prestwood, and a little teeny, also Karen Burke. And if you turned it over, it was a big Karen Burke with Hugh Prestwood in real little letters.
Clever.
Oh, that's great.
I would like to say something serious.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Back in those days, I was young and stupid, and yeah, I had an okay voice, and I was but other than being the chick singer in the band, I don't think I appreciated the musicality of Spanky and Bruce and John and Hugh. I just, I was clueless, and I'm not clueless anymore. And then the songwriting, I mean, how weird. Back then, I thought that songwriters were from a different planet,
Yeah.
And I do believe that it was realizing through Hugh that, sometimes people that you actually know can be songwriters. And I think that when
and you have big time songs, you follow our footsteps a little too closely, in my opinion. But
I appreciate each one of you.
Well, I think you guys are the real deal. I mean, to have two Grammy-nominated songwriter performers in the same band is unique in itself. It really is. And
wow.
And you're both great. That's all I can say about you two. You're both great at what you do.
And Karen, you have a great voice. Yeah, I always thought your voice was great.
Always did.
Thank you. It's grown. Thank you.
Really
You had this kind of subtle vibrato that I really loved.
Yeah.
I worked for years with my vocal teacher getting rid of that.
Oh, is that right?
It's interesting how a group of people can come together, and sometimes at only one time, sometimes at just the right time. And with John's musicality on the guitar, which was outstanding, and then the rhythm part of the band with Bruce and I, and we played off of each other all the time, and both of you, and then Karen, you're singing, and kind of the range of different songs that you could do. And then with Hugh and his guitar playing as well. I mean, Hugh, you did some fantastic guitar, and I was always so impressed. And then, the songwriting, and then the way we put together cover songs was no joke. I mean, it was really the real deal, and it was probably one of the very best times musically in my life. It really was great.
There was a real scene in those days in El Paso. There was a real music scene.
Yes, there was.
There were a bunch of good bands. There was something really happening there, and I think it just kind of eventually went away. As far as I know, that was just a pretty golden age, I think.
You're right, Hugh, and that's why so many of the bands left El Paso to go to the left coast. They were going out there.
Disco.
Well, and disco later, yeah, but I'm talking about early before disco really hit. But yeah, disco, mid-'70s really did destroy it a lot for many of the clubs and everything. John, one thing that you all may not know about John is that not only is he a great jazz player and of course he played it all. But for the last several years, quite a few years, he was playing country, right, John?
Yeah, I played a country big gig that lasted 25 years.
Wow.
That's a pretty
We
big.
traveled all over the West Coast and Nevada, and we did a lot of rodeos.
Get out of here.
The Reno rodeo.
What kind of
Get
songs
out
were you
of
playing?
here. That's great.
What were you playing? Like what kind of cover stuff or?
Yeah, cover stuff, but also the leader wrote songs, and his father had been in the Sons of the Pioneers.
Oh my God! All right.
Nice.
So he knew all those songs too. So we had a good time with that group.
Hey, Rick, what he's not telling you though, in all those various episodes of going to the rodeos, he was also one of the top bronc riders. Isn't that right, John? Huh? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was only in one event in the rodeo, and that was my only one time. I took a look at the bulls and said, "No, I'm not doing this."
Wise move.
Was that before you changed the name to the low balls or the high balls?
Well, that was back in West Texas, so.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That
It
was
was in Odessa.
that
Yeah.
was really. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, Karen. I'm sorry. The
Oh,
devil
you're-
The devil made me do it.
God.
Oh,
But Bruce and Spanky and John Hyatt, they kind of dragged me into the first band, the Highballs. I didn't want to really be in it because I really felt like I was not a very good lead guitar player. I felt like I was a good folk picker. And I don't know if you remember this, Bruce, but you guys asked me to come out there about 3 times. I didn't show up at the airport place. And finally, they kept bugging me. So I finally showed up, and then we played a little Proud Mary, and by God, we got going.
You got into it. You always, I know on your acoustic guitar, you always, your 12 string, you had the metal finger picks. It always,
Oh, yeah. God.
unbelievable. You'd have one on each finger and just go to town. And it was just so melodic, you'd hypnotize me as far as the way you'd play that 12 string.
Yeah. I remember, I tell you, getting into the darker underbelly of the old days. Bruce, one night you and I went over to this mother and her daughter. Remember that night we went over to see these 2 women that we met at the Jet Set Club. Her name was Trina, and the mother was Agnes. And
I gotta be careful here. My wife's here. I don't remember that year.
Yeah. Well, nothing happened. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I remember that was one of the little.
They invited us
adventures
over, obviously.
Yes.
I
I was.
remember. Yeah,
I
that
was
goes
happy
back.
married, but
I remember you picked me up. You had a Volkswagen, I believe it was a Volkswagen van, and I was living in an apartment, and you'd pick me up every night on the way to the gig.
Yeah, I loaded. We'd put all our equipment in that van, and we were playing out there 3 nights a week, right? As I recall.
Yeah, I think that's about right, Spanky, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did 3. There was sometimes that we had a couple of stretches where they couldn't get anybody, and we were doing up to 5 nights a week there. So, but it was those were partial times kind of thing. But
The best
mostly it
gig
was
ever.
3 to
The best
5.
gig ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good place. It's funny. I wasn't. There was a lot going on with other bands in town, but I wasn't much into the scene of what was going on. Like when I was listening to Mike Ciccarelli's thing, the Rick did, talking about the Frijoles and all that place. I never got to those places. I just, I don't know, just stayed home, I guess.
yeah. Hey, Karen, looking at your blue blouse there, it's reminding me of another song. Blue Sky Blue.
Sky Blue.
I really like that song too. And Hugh, can you tell me about that story on that song?
I can tell you absolutely nothing except that I saw the sky was blue one day and I wrote the damn song. Honest to God, I don't remember a damn thing.
thought you'd lost, but then you'd won. Have you ever thought it was over, but it just begun? Have you ever lost someone you thought you'd never lose? Even though they were bad for you, they got you singing the blues. Well, that's what I call blue sky blues. Yeah. Blue sky blues. Good news. Now, honey, when you walked out on me, I thought my life was through. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what to do. Yeah, but every cloud has a silver lining. Now I know it's true. Or even though I am alone, I've gotten rid of you, and that's what I call blue sky blues. Yeah. Blue sky blues. Good news.
Boy, man, you are just a library of great information, you know?
Yeah.
This is what happens when we don't have the reunion until 50 years from the band.
I know. I think next reunion, we better do it next year.
Next week.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm sorry I missed that big concert you guys did back in a few years ago.
Which one? We did it for 8 years.
Well, didn't you do one at the auditorium or Liberty Hall or something like that?
We did 5 of them at the Almeida Shrine, and then the first one that we did where Karen came in and emceed it was at the Lancers East, and then we went out to Country Club Road and did a room called the Isaron, which is a big, like a wedding rental hall, and then we went back to the Lancers again, and then it was like 5 years at the Almeida Shrine, and that was a big hall. You could put
So you're doing this regularly?
Well, I did from 2009 to 2016, and I was bringing back a lot of the big El Paso popular bands from all over. And I think the last show we did in 2016, my wife and I counted 25 different states that were coming to El Paso to hear us.
Wow.
Yeah. And I brought back the Chains. I brought back, a lot of the great bands like, Bobby and the Premiers, Rod Crosby.
Remember what happened to Ron and Sue?
Ron and Sue, I played the part of Bert Peters, the very first show. Bert Peters is living in
Atlanta.
Louisiana area, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
He got out of music, Rick.
He did. He got out of, music altogether. He got into construction, and he lost his wife a few years ago. So he's living alone now, and I haven't talked to him lately. I've reached out to him a few times, but I haven't gotten a call back from him. But yeah, it was a great run, Hugh. We had a lot of fun with it. Rod Crosby was my co-producer. He took care of the back line, and I took care of the groups and the promos. And
I went to the studio. He had a studio, wasn't it?
Called Rosewood.
Yeah, I was in there one time. The only time I ever met Mike Ciccarelli was he came out to the Jet Set one night and sat in, took my guitar, and made me look like a complete loser. He was so amazing. God mighty. But at least I met him.
He's a good one.
He was in the group called the Maggots. Remember that group? I'm not lying. Ciccarelli.
Yeah.
Bert was the drummer. The bass player was, what's his name? Howard Steele.
Yep.
Howard Steele. And I don't know who else was in the group.
Jim Reese was a part of the group at one time. before he started playing with us. And it's great stuff, man. Good memories. So many good memories.
So many people, so many groups.
Yeah.
Just
well, Rod Crosby, he's still playing. There's only two groups that I can think of that were popular, that came out of El Paso, that are still playing for high school reunions. Rod Crosby and the Intruders, and Bobby and the Premiers, Bobby Rosales and the Premiers.
Wow.
They've lived through all this. I mean, going on, 55 years, 60 years almost. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Paul Dillon was the Henchman. Is that correct?
The Henchman. They played our show about 3 or 4 of the 8 times. Yeah.
He was with Rod Crosby at my 50th reunion 2 years ago. Paul West, is it right? Playing bass.
He was one of them, but right now it's Ed Clore on bass, Rick Benitez on drums,
yes,
Rick Armstrong on keyboard and guitar, Rod, of course, and who am I leaving out here? Rick Armstrong, already said that. Ed Clore, I named them all. Yeah,
they're still going.
They're still going, and they sound as good as they ever did, man. And yes, Rod is still as particular as he ever was, and that's why it always sounds good, and he always brings a good product.
Yeah.
Is there any clubs in El Paso these days that have live bands that do that kind of thing?
Oh, there's a few bars that are still doing their thing, Hugh. It'll never be like it was. I mean, you can't even go to Las Vegas anymore, man. And I mean, I know a lot of people that live there that hit the big time. There's another John Payne that lives in Las Vegas. John, I don't know if this is your buddy from the band Asia and Dukes of the Orient. I mean, these places, unless you really had a big name and really hit it, then that's all it is. It's not a lost leader anymore. Like, in the days when I was playing the Vegas showrooms and stuff, we would play the big lounge, and we were kind of the warm up for the big acts. They would go in there and gamble and watch the bands play, and you don't even see that anymore. It's not happening in Vegas anymore. That's why we were a traveling show band, because you had to go all over, the country and Canada to find the big rooms.
There were a lot of places in Reno that had live music.
Yeah,
but I don't know how it's doing now.
It's like Vegas. It's just you're not seeing it. You'll see little clubs maybe with a single using a voice stacker or whatever, and doing their thing, and but it's not like it was where you go and see a show, and it's sad. I hate it. I really do.
The old day.
Hey, Hugh, do you do any shows? Do you go on tour? I know you're in New York, but do you go out and do clubs, special guests, singing and everything?
You know what I do? I up until this COVID thing kicked in, I usually did a few gigs down in Nashville, the Bluebird, and I get invited out to different locales. I played out in Montana a few times, and different. What these guys would do? They'd get 3 or 4 big time Nashville writers, to come do shows at different places.
Yeah.
And did some of those. I did quite a bit of those, but I think when the COVID thing, everything just sort of stopped. And it's gotten to be such a pain in the ass to travel, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just too fuddy-duddy.
A lot of the shows that I've done, Hugh, have been with songwriters like yourself. Michael Peterson, I don't know if you know Mike.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's doing a songwriter like you're referring to, with 3 other guys at one of the big resorts in Vegas coming up. And, Bob Cheevers, Steve McClintock, a lot of these guys are doing house concerts.
Yeah.
John Beeland, there's a bunch of them, Bobby Cochran, Eddie Cochran's nephew. I did a show with him, and they're just, thank God they can write their music and still record, but you're not going to get rich recording anymore unless you have a big hit like you and Karen,
You're not going to get rich, period. I'm telling you. It's like, you know, music business. I wouldn't advise anybody going into being a songwriter these days. It's so
competitive. It's so competitive, and there's so many good ones out there, you know.
Yeah, but it's not. To me, it's not a matter of competitiveness. It's a matter of getting paid for it, and then it's also to me, it's kind of manufactured a lot. Like you can hardly see a song that is written by 3 or 4 people, and there's what I call a lot of fake soul, and not a lot of real pure soul I hear much these days.
Yeah. Did you do much collaborating with your songwriting, Hugh? I know you're pretty solo with that, aren't you?
Right. Yeah, I never did co-write.
Okay.
Never did. I had a chance, you know, several times to write with some big people. I actually had a chance to write with Neil Diamond one time, but I just backed out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I can't explain it. I just don't like it. I can't explain it. It's like the minute I'm sitting in a room with somebody, it's like it's like I'm back in high school, you know. It's when does the bell ring? I want to get out of here. It's something weird with me. But I think it's good for me. It's good for me to be, because I've been really self-contained in a way. I think it's kind of burnished my reputation in a way, because I'm one of the few guys that really writes, you know, solo.
How about you, Mike? Are you doing any writing?
Oh, a little bit, you know, here and there. I mean, I always work on writing, and I actually co-wrote a song, Hugh, recently. I didn't know. I know a lot of people didn't know that I was adopted as a baby, and within the last few years, I found out who my birth parents were. And so when I went back to, I actually met some half brothers and sisters and that kind of thing. One of them was had written. He's passed away now. He passed away about a year ago. And he had started writing a song, and so his niece sent the song to me and asked, and we agreed to see if I could finish it for him, because it was just a number of verses and it didn't have any melody or a chorus or anything like that. And so I worked on that and did that. So that's really the most recent song that I've done, but I still write a little bit.
Well, far out. I didn't know you wrote it all. I've been pretty steady. I've been writing a song about a month ever since year one, but about the last year, I've suddenly just not into it that much. I don't know why. I guess I feel like I don't know. I've always been really motivated to write songs, but in the last year or two, I just sort of, I don't know. It could be just a period I want to get re-inspired or something.
COVID's been tough.
It has been.
Hey, can I ask people to? I mean, my bandmates here, come check out. For the last 10 years, I've been part of another duo, Hugh. First, it was you and me, and now it's my dear friend and my best friend and sister. Her name is Stowe Daly. So she's Stowe Daly, and I'm Karen Taylor Good. So we call ourselves Stowe Good. And we put out three albums, and we do. Anyway, in 2020, we decided to, since we couldn't go anywhere because all our gigs were canceled, we started populating our YouTube channel, which has a lot of really wonderful, and it's all original stuff that she and I write together.
And it's really good too.
Thank
really
you.
Good.
So come to YouTube and look for Stowe Good.
How do you spell Stowe?
Say that again.
Ricky.
How do you spell Stowe?
STOWE, like Vermont, like Stowe, Vermont. Yeah.
Okay.
Check it out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Bruce.
Echo Hugh's feeling and description of Karen's voice, but would you not agree with me that she's still knockout gorgeous today?
Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt, man.
I'm sitting there looking at her thinking,
why do you think I brought her in to be the MC of my show, man? You know, I'm not stupid.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
She is knockout hot. I'm telling you, she's gorgeous.
That means a lot to this 71-year-old woman.
Listen,
And I like her husband a lot in equal time here. You know, he likes craft beers, And here's another little fact that you all may not know about Dennis, her husband. He played trombone with Elvis Presley. How about that? Is that cool?
Whoa.
That's pretty cool.
He was a big time session player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
He toured
Karen,
with him
I
for a
think
little
you
bit,
look
right,
great.
Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you look great, Karen. You know,
Thank
you everybody else looks like 50 years, have passed, but you don't.
She looks the same as she did when we played. I'm telling you. She hadn't changed at all.
You guys.
God.
God
So
bless you.
everybody's married or has a John. Is that your wife you referred to a couple of times? Your girlfriend or
Girlfriend.
okay? And Bruce and Spanky are married, right?
42 years here.
Damn.
What does that mean, Spanky?
In June of 22, it will be 50 for me.
Damn.
Good grief.
Is that
No, I've
No
been
wonder
married
that hair's gone now, John. Ricky.
25 years to my beautiful wife, Becky.
Ah.
All right. Nice.
she said? No, Jeff.
So,
You had to say that.
Rick, it's a golden one for you then, the golden anniversary.
That's what they tell me, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
I guess I
Nobody-
figured out though, getting older, they always say the golden years. Now I really know what that means. That means the doctors are getting all of our gold.
Gold is gone. The gold is gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, one of the things I have come to believe about is if you want to be in the music business, you got to have the calling, and you really want to do it. I always think you got to have the calling and you got to have the gift. And I've met many people who had the calling and not the gift, and a lot of people that have had the gift that didn't want to pay the dues.
Yeah.
I remember when Karen and I were playing down at in New Orleans at the Village Inn Pizza Parlor, and the drinking age was 18. Every place we played was 21, and it was like a zoo all of a sudden. But and nobody was listening to us the whole time, Karen. I don't remember this. But that's when I really decided I was going to go to New York. That was like, to me, I'm not going to play bars anymore. I'm not cut out for it. I'm not a good bar player. And that was a real pivotal point in my decision to move to New York.
Let me ask you about that, Hugh. I read where Judy Collins was responsible for kind of launching you into, what year was that, and what particular song do you recall?
Yeah, very much. Now this, my memory is still working. Well, I was knocking around the Village. I moved up to the New York City, basically in '73. Started doing all kinds of open mics, showcases and things, and it didn't really have any kind of connection. And anyway, one afternoon, United Artists started doing a showcase at the Bottom Line, but it was just industry stuff. So it was in the afternoon, and you had to submit a cassette, and if they picked you out, you would play in front of a bunch of industry people, like 3 songs. And so I went down and did this thing one afternoon, and I thought I did pretty good. And Tom Paxton came up to me, the folky guy who's I'm a big fan of, and he was very complimentary. And I said to him, I have some songs I think it'd be really good for Judy Collins, and would you ever consider sending them to her? And he said, absolutely. So that's what he did. I made him a tape, and he sent it to Judy Collins. And there was a song on this tape called Dorothy. And she loved the song, and she called me up, and the next thing I know, she recorded about 3 of my songs, and she got me my first staff writing job.
Excellent.
And the song that was my first hit was this "Hard Times for Lovers" that she recorded, but it was on the same album was the song called Dorothy, which is what she got me going with her.
The song that you did called "The Suit," that wasn't your song though, was it, originally?
The Suit?
Yeah.
No, that's my song.
Oh, that is your song. Well, who else recorded it besides you? That's where I'm confused, I think.
Well, James Taylor and Jerry Douglas.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did it
Yeah.
after you recorded it. Okay.
Well, I've never technically, I've made my own little CDs, but I got to be good friends with Russ Titleman, who's produced James Taylor a lot. And James Taylor, he played my song "The Suit" for James Taylor, and James Taylor loved it, and so they ended up putting it on a Jerry Douglas record.
Excellent.
Okay, Crystal Gayle, you ended up doing some songs that you wrote for.
Yeah, that was my first #1 hit, was Crystal Gayle.
Yeah.
I wrote this song called "The Sound of Goodbye," that was the song, and that got bounced around New York City for a while. I had several kind of big time producers that liked it, but nothing happened with it. And then I told Judy Collins, I thought I'd go down to Nashville and see what's happening down there. And she said, well, if you go to Nashville, go see Jimmy Bowen. And he's a really famous producer, although I didn't really know who he was. So anyway, I had a meeting with Jimmy Bowen, and I gave him a cassette that had "Hard Times for Lovers" on it. No, it had "Sound of Goodbye" on it. And the next thing I know, I'd never heard another word from him. And about a year later, I got a phone call saying, guess what the first single off Crystal Gayle's new record is? "Sound of Goodbye." That was a thrill.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Wow.
That
Incredible.
was an awesome song.
So out of
funny is, a funny little footnote on that is Jimmy Bowen couldn't remember where he got the song. But by the time they cut it, when Crystal Gayle couldn't remember where he got it. So they actually had it slated for the first single, and they didn't know who wrote it. So they were running around all over town. Finally, they found somebody who recognized it.
I was just curious, Hugh, your option to go to New York City versus just Nashville or LA, or why New York City?
I had a friend up there from El Paso, Tricia O'Neill.
Okay.
She was a great singer. I used to accompany her in El Paso once in a while, and she got on Broadway in a big Broadway musical, and CBS got interested in her as a recording artist. And long story short, I'd written a few songs, and she said, let's do some. So she picked my song to do this session with Columbia Records. So I got flown up to New York, and so that's basically, I knew somebody in New York. You know what I mean? And I was thinking in terms of being James Taylor II. I wasn't trying to be country. And, I didn't know anybody in Nashville, didn't know anybody in LA. So that's where I went.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we all know why Kern went to Nashville and stayed there. I just got through doing a really interesting show, Karen, with Terry Manning last Saturday. We did a 2-hour show on the El Paso History Radio, iHeartRadio show. And you guys tune into it if you haven't seen it. It's really a good one. This guy's amazing. He moved back to El Paso because he loves El Paso, but he's lived quite the life. He basically rose from the very beginning of working at Stax Records, and then just went crazy from there. He's produced Led Zeppelin, ZZ Top, Shakira, Shania Twain, Box Tops, in a list about that long, about 100 more names. And it's just amazing. But what a neat story he's had. He's written some songs and just done some really good stuff. But I share that with you in case you all haven't heard my last episode. It was pretty neat. It's a video also. You can see it up on YouTube. Yeah.
Well, I think we should just get the old Medicine Band together again. Go down to some bar.
There you go.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Reunion.
Hey, Rick Kern.
Yes, ma'am.
I thank you for loving El Paso. I love and miss my sweet hometown. Thank you for loving El Paso so much and loving all the music that's come out of there. So we appreciate you.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Really.
We're keeping it alive.
That's what I do. I hear a song. It's what I do. I wonder where that came from. It's one of Karen's songs, by the way, in case you didn't know that. But it's a great one. But thank you all. It means a lot to me to be validated. Of course, I don't do it for that. I do it because I believe in keeping the memories alive, keeping the music patrimony alive, because there's a lot of it in our great city of El Paso. We've had a lot of great musicians, of which I am sitting here with 5 of them. You know, it means a lot to me to keep these stories going, and to we've got a lot more to tell. You know, we're going to be doing this thing for a long time, and as long as people want to continue to hear it and be a part of it, and you know, it's something that I feel like I need to do. And I think COVID kind of brought this on. You know, it kind of retired me a lot sooner than I wanted to. I own a communications company, but it hasn't done anything for a long time because, you know, my biggest clients was Hertz and Dollar and Thrifty Rent-A-Car. They're all under the same corporate umbrella. They went bankrupt. You know, that was one of my big accounts. UTEP, they're another one of my big accounts. They're not doing anything now. You know, I mean, it's just, it's changed. Life has changed. The world's changed. But, you know, I always had music as my first love. It's always been my passion. And as long as I have great friends like you all that I love immensely, I really appreciate you guys coming on here today. And I think more importantly is bringing back the Medicine Band after 50 plus years. You know, this has been so much fun with you guys, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, my email is hughprestwood@gmail.com. So let's stay in touch here.
Let's definitely do that. And I wish all of you all tremendous success. Please stay healthy.
Absolutely.
And keep doing what you're doing. Stay happy. Be kind to everybody, you know, and more importantly, keep playing music. Keep involved. Keep doing what you're doing, because you all are real diamonds in the rough. We love you guys so much, and thank you for being a part of this today.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
So
Thank you,
fun.
man. It's been
It's
great.
so nice seeing all of you.
Yeah.
Everybody looks great. Everybody is great. John,
Okay.
good to see you too, buddy.
Yeah,
Please,
John.
everybody, it's great to see you guys.
Oh, wow.
Amen. It really is. Okay,
Yeah,
I
once
gotta-
again,
I gotta go.
thank you for this, Rick. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank all of you, and have a good rest of your night and the week. Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Music Live.
Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.